Hey everybody, welcome to Formicast live stream. Welcome Formicast fans to another episode of Formicast Podcast, your source for everything ant keeping. Welcome listeners to the first panel episode live stream of Formicast Podcast. Here we'll do things a little bit different from my normal show, but before we begin, is there any new reviews? No, there are not. Sadly. However, I don't hate you guys for it. It's super simple, super easy. The only thing you have to do is go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review, and I'll read it on the show. Super easy. Shout outs. I have shout outs, plenty of shout outs. You guys, the community, you guys are great. Speaking of shout outs, I have some special guests with me today. So the first guest I want to introduce is Ants Manitoba. Welcome back, bro. Hopefully I can pronounce Camponatus Nova Burke. What? I can't pronounce words. Say hi, Ants Manitoba.
What's up?
I tried. Or maybe I didn't. But anyway, welcome to the show. Glad to have you back. My next guest is Aesthetic Ants. Welcome back, man.
Hello everyone, familiar face.
Sadly, the next guest did not show up. But hopefully he'll be here tomorrow, or maybe he'll show up halfway through the show. Antscapes is not here at the moment. Sadly, I was looking forward to saying peace and love. But my next guest is the Urban Ant Keeper. Say hello.
What's poppin'?
All right, and then I'll leave the
That was
best.
horrible.
Oh, you're fine. And I'll leave the best for last. Ants Britannia, welcome to the show, my guy.
How you doing? You alright?
Doing wonderful. All right, so we have a couple questions from the community that I wanted to kind of throw at you guys. So first thing, actually, before we get into those specific questions, we'll start with the Urban Ant Keeper. Why ant keeping? What made you want to be an ant keeper?
Summer 2017, I had chopped up some grapes and I was eating them. Then my friend called and said, "Oh, do you want to come around to my house?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I left the bowl of chopped up grapes out. And when I came back, I saw like ants were eating it, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So for like the next couple weeks, I like kept feeding them. I fed them like honey, sugar water, that sort of thing. And I sort of learned more and more about it. And yeah, from there, I just got more and more colonies and more deeper into it. Yeah,
Sweet.
good.
That's awesome. What about you, Aesthetic Ants? What got you into ant keeping?
So yeah, basically I have the most cliche story of all, I think. Ants Canada was the one that got me into ant keeping, and yeah, I learned that you can keep ants as pets, and basically I started to watch videos, and I saw his videos, and yeah, then I got into ant keeping, keeping ants for 4 years, but only seriously since I started YouTube. So.
What's the first video you saw from him?
Oh, very no idea. That's
Okay.
way too long ago. But yeah,
For me, it was probably
Some
the
tutorial.
my fire ants are planning an escape.
Yeah,
one.
same for me.
Yeah.
That was a good one. My first video that I saw of him was when he got his Solenopsis vidca queen, and like, yeah, but
That's quite far back.
that's
I
quite far
think.
back.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
that's how far back I started watching his stuff. But yeah, Ants Manitoba.
Yep.
What about you? When did you start?
Oh yeah, I forgot the question. I was like, yeah. Yeah, for me it was Ants Canada's my fire ants are playing an escape video as well, very cliche. Actually that same night I saw that video, I ran outside, and this is so long ago, but I'm pretty sure I found a queen, but she died like literally the next day. I'm not sure why. Not sure why, but and then it was winter time. So until winter, yeah, there was just nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's how I first got into it. Not a very exciting story, but Yeah.
Sweet. Ants Britannia, what about you, bud? What got you into ant keeping?
Well, it was a long time ago, actually. I was quite young. I think I was around 15 years ago. So this is like 10 years ago now. And I got taken to London Zoo, and they just built an insect house. And straight away, when you walk into London, into this insect house, they've got a leaf cutter exhibit. And honestly, man, I was at the moment I walked in there, I was mesmerized. My whole family just kept walking around the insect house, but I kind of just stuck around these leaf cutters, just watching them, and it was amazing. I fell in love pretty much straight away. Then uh, after the trip, went home. I mean, done some research on whether I could do that. Obviously, I have never kept leafcutter ants, but I still looked at whether it was possible to keep ants like they do. And the way I kind of found out was through like forums and through the ant store, the one in Germany, in Berlin. Don't know if you've heard of it.
No, probably not.
I was planning to go there before quarantine.
Oh man, it's awesome there. I've actually been lucky enough to actually visit there, and it's like an ant keeper's heaven. Honestly, they've got so many types of ants there, and they're all in massive like tanks and farms, and it's amazing. But yeah, I was looking at forums and stuff, and on those forums, people had obviously links to YouTube videos, and I was watching videos of like these were like the first ever tutorials like Ants Canada had brought out. Like something crazy, like removing the cotton from a test tube with a barbecue skewer, something like that was my first video I think I watched from him. I was watching him and like the likes of Intimidation. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, you go
He
way back.
he was making some stuff back then, and it was so cool watching him as well, like going out and looking for queens, and I went out looking for queens in the middle of winter, thinking it was the right thing to do, and obviously they were all hibernating. But yeah, I watched a few tutorials on it, and I managed to get the hang of it. And my first ever nest was from the ant store. Funny enough.
Nice.
I wonder where Intimidation is now, because his last upload was like 7 years ago.
Yeah. So we have a question from Happy Ant UK for all of us actually, and it kind of ties into like the question I'm asking is like when someone asks you what you do for fun, you tell them I keep ants as pets. What's their reaction? Also like the kind of what the question is when you talk to your friends about your hobbies or your people at work or whatever. What's their reaction to when you tell them you're an ant keeper, you keep ants as pets? We'll let anybody that wants to answer this question answer in any order. It doesn't matter.
I don't mind going first. Or...
Okay, go ahead.
Well, sometime to begin with, obviously I was going to school. And it was a bit of a new hobby. It's hard to. I don't know if anybody else struggled, but I really struggled to tell people about the hobby. I don't know if anyone else did, but I was scared as to what they would think of me, or so it actually was quite difficult to tell my friends about it, considering they're all interested in like football, which is like soccer.
Yep.
And they were just interested in completely different things, man. And when how now is completely different. I just would tell people, and obviously it's a bit more of a popular thing, so people can just Google it, and it's just they can find so many videos on it, and they find it pretty interesting. My family thought it was pretty interesting to begin with, because I was bringing all these ants into the house.
Yeah. So when I first started ant keeping, back in like the first couple episodes, I kind of explained how I got into it, but like my housemates, when they found out that I got onto it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm keeping ants as pets, and they're like, okay, like that's cool and everything, and they're like, they think it's amazing I'm going out and catching queens and stuff when it's nice out, but like they're like, yeah, we don't want carpenter ants in the house, so if you catch any of those, you gotta release them. And I'm like, oh, but I really want them. Like they're so cool. But no. Normally, whenever I tell people that I'm keeping ants as pets, normally it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing. Like they think it's pretty cool that I keep ants. Like I had one guy at church. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm keeping ants as pets, and I've been catching these queens, and I've been like showing people pictures of the queens I've been catching, which most of them had laid eggs already, which I can't wait. But anyway, like that's pretty much what it's like for me. Ants Manitoba, you want to go next?
Yeah, this is interesting because a lot like a lot of the people that I've told, especially recently, it's more like taking jabs back at it, like remarks that wouldn't really make sense, like why you'd keep them. It doesn't make sense to them. Which is kind of why I just, not like I'm ashamed of anything, I just don't really talk about it because it just usually doesn't go well over their head, or then they ask me about it all the time because they don't understand it. It's like why you keep a dog, right? A dog, it's just it's a dog. It's
Yeah.
the same thing as a pet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just has trouble getting over people's heads sometimes.
Right. Like, why keep tarantulas, bro? Like, why
Exactly.
keep mantises? Why keep anything as pets, right? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, especially like when they tell you, "Oh, if I had ants in my house, I would kill them." You're like, okay, what did that add to the conversation?
right. Like,
Yeah, I've definitely got that one before. Oh, I just kill mine. I spray my sidewalks with like acid that just deteriorates to the center of the earth so that I don't have ants in my yard. I'm like, good for you. Like,
for
what
you,
do you
man.
want me to
Good for
say?
you. Right. When I did the interview with Corporal Nosage, he does pest control, and he actually tried to get ants for his son, or his grandmother, or his mom tried to get um, ants for his son for Christmas or something, and when he got them, they were like pretty much dead. And I was like, yeah, you should contact Utah Ant Shop, or you should contact somebody that sells ants in your area or something, and I might have to probably tell him to talk to Tar Heel Ants about that instead. But anyway, um, let's see, who is next? Urban Ant Keeper. How about you?
Yeah, it's not really that. So I got into ants in like the summer in between year 6 and year 7. I think in America you call it like grade 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I came into school like completely obsessed with ants, and I was telling everyone about it. And somehow I managed to convince one of the kids to start ant keeping. So early stages of year 7 was like mostly spent going around to his house and like showing him how it's done. So I haven't actually had too many negative reactions. Mostly it's just been telling people and them actually getting into ant keeping, which is quite nice.
That's awesome. Static Ants, did you answer this question yet?
No, I haven't. I just made the joke that this was an easy question to answer because I have no friends.
Ouch.
No,
Ouch, bro.
just kidding. No, the thing is, people are interested for a little bit, but they are really interested when you tell them you can make money from this hobby, and then is where the interest really pops. So yeah.
Yep.
But like keeping normal ants, well, people think you're weird. People think you need to let them outside on a leash. People think you just pick up some ants, put them in a jar, and then look at them. So yeah, the hobby is, yeah, people really don't understand how ants work in general.
Yeah.
And well, that's just the biggest thing. But once you say, well, I can make money from this, then they suddenly interested in what is ant keeping and what's it about. So yeah.
Yeah. So we have a question from KB Ants. He's going to be a panelist for tomorrow's episode. He wants to know, when did you start getting interested in ant keeping, and what sparked your interest? Like, was there a specific thing that like sparked your interest? I know for you, Urban Ant Keeper was the grape, and seeing the ants
Yeah.
there. I know for me it was a game called Grounded. I'm not sure if you guys heard of it or not, but it's like Honey I Shrunk the Kids. And then I just bought Empire of the Undergrowth because Mile Maxer is playing this game, and I was like, oh, it's like a fun game. I'll go ahead and give it a try. But gaming is what got me into ant keeping, and then Ants Canada, of course. But
Ants Canada is like the gateway drug to ant keeping.
he is
Really
the
though,
gateway
really,
drug.
really though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's basically what mine would be. Again, it's just like Ants Canada really
Ants
is
Canada.
what sparked everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can just say the spark is Ants Canada then. That's funny. And I don't even watch his videos anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
As Britannia, is there like a spark that got you into ant keeping, or do you agree it was just Ants Canada?
I think it was seeing the leaf cutters in that insect house. I think it was probably a combination really of seeing them like being the most amazing thing. I thought it was normally like ants are underground and seeing them all in complete glass was just something I'd never seen before, and seeing them collecting their leaves, and I don't know, I was just mesmerized, and that kind of fueled me to look at Ants Canada. So maybe it's like a mixture of that and Ants Canada and maybe Intimidation and the forums and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't use the forums anymore, but when I first started, I'd love to just go on there and talk to people about problems, and because it was very relatively new, I think.
Yeah. I'm on the Permaculture forum quite a bit. Not as much as I used to be, but I have it open now. But so we have a question from Minigun. His question is, what is everyone's favorite genus and species? So my favorite, I'm reading your guys' chat in the panelists thing. It's making me laugh. So my favorite genus would probably be Chromatogaster for sure. I just think they're really cute. Species, to be honest, since I'm still kind of like new at ant keeping, I don't think I have like a favorite like species yet, but I really do like Chromatogaster. But why don't we let you guys answer this question, since all of you guys probably have way more experience when it comes to ant keeping. Ants Manitoba, what's your favorite genus and species?
Oh man, you know what? I love Hidoli so much. They're just so cool. If I were to go to like specific, as much as I love Fadoli as an entire individual, I'd probably have to say like something from Australia, like Myrmecia. I don't remember what it's called. It's Myrmecia something, but it's just those type of ants that are just huge, and you can really see with like a lot of detail with your own eyes, and they can like watch you. That is so cool. I wish I could keep them, but illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal.
There's a lot of type of ants I wish I could keep, but sadly I can't. But anyway, Static Ants, what about you? What's your favorite genus and species?
Yeah, I don't have that much experience yet, so I can't say for real. But I think I'll have to go with just simply Lasius niger, because it's just the best ant to not only take care of, but just one of the ultimate, I think, species to keep. Even though they are so common, they are still fun to keep and easy to keep, which makes them the ultimate species in my opinion. But I also recently got Campanodus nicobarensis, and they are also
they're a great species.
and also a very like maybe underrated species, but then also very common in the ant keeping world. But I love them as well. Definitely fun species. So those two would be my choices.
Awesome. As Britannia, what's your favorite?
Quite a hard one, to be fair. Probably the favorite Favorite ant that I've ever kept, I think. Oh man.
How about the favorite that you keep currently? What's your favorite that you keep currently?
Oh man, I don't have that many at the moment. I'm trying to keep it as minimal as I can at the moment. Well, right now, probably my messes. I love them. They're just so hardy. But my favorite ant I've probably ever kept is either going to be Harpignathus or Tetraponera, because they're so, the way they behave is so individual compared to, or a more like social structure of ants like Mesa, for example, where they all kind of work together. And seeing like ants which are more like a Ponerine, where they act like as individuals, it's just a bit more interesting. I don't know, I just found it more interesting. Oh, someone's joined.
Antscapes is here.
Antscapes is here. Peace and love, bro. Peace and love.
30 minutes behind schedule, but it's
Hey,
okay.
what's up, team? What's up, team?
Not much.
Hey,
Welcome.
nothing worse than a latecomer, eh?
Better late than never, bro.
Literally, I got home about 5 minutes ago, and I was like trying to put washing away, do everything in that space of time, and I don't know how I've done it. It's like when you wake up late on the morning for work, you know, you miraculously get ready in like 2 seconds.
Sweet.
Right. I'm with you. How are we all doing?
Doing wonderful. We do have a question from Lice Camera Ants, actually. He's going to be another panelist for tomorrow. He wants to know, what's your worst experience in ant keeping? If anybody has some like horrible, funny stories to tell about ant keeping, please tell.
This was it was about 3 years ago when I sort of kept one without knowing much about them. It was a Lasius niger colony. I made a terrarium setup without knowing about what I always preach about, which is patience and taking your time, letting them mature. And the tank itself, they always go through like a molding stage the first couple of weeks. I remember it was after like a week. I woke up, went downstairs, and everything was just dead. Plants, the ants, everything, isopods in there, all completely dead. And that was brutal. I felt like a murderer. Honestly, man, it was horrible.
Shoot.
But yeah.
I think when I first got my harvester ants from Tar Heel Ants, I panicked because so you know the little nest mate that you get and you fill the water up? Well, I panicked because I didn't know how to refill it, and I like opened the little stopper, and all the water rushed out, and they're like panicking around down there, and they're like trying to grab all their stuff, and I'm like, shit, am I gonna drown them? Like, what's going? So I'm panicking the whole
That
time.
happened to me too. That happened to me too.
I'm like, all right, these are gonna be my like experimental ants. Hopefully, I don't kill them all. Like, I need to learn. But no, they're doing fine. I actually got to watch the queen lay eggs for the first time, and that was awesome. And then like, she's laying so many eggs, and she's got so many larvae and pupae already, and like, I was like, okay, I need to get a new outworld because Utah Ant Shop's little, like the large feeder leaks, and it leaked blue liquid all over the place. So I was like, I have to get a new outworld. So I actually I noticed that the Ant Network was getting rid of a bunch of like outworld and stuff. So I reached out and was like, well, like, you have a sale, what's going on? And then realized that Miles was moving to Arizona and they were selling these outworlds. So I got 2 of them, and then I asked Miles, I asked the Ant Network, I was like, what do I have to do to interview Miles? And then realized I was actually talking to Miles the whole entire time. So we got to talking and stuff, and he's actually listening to the show now, which is like really cool that Miles is listening to the show.
Hey Miles.
Hey Miles.
Also, hey everyone, by the way, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me here as well.
Yeah.
I just want to get that out there, you know.
Yep. So
Didn't think I'd be in the same chat as Sans Britannia and Aesthetic and everyone else, you know.
Well,
it's pretty funny that you pointed out me. Sitting in the corner crying.
He's sitting there quietly. Hello.
But so yeah, the question that we had before you graced us with your presence and peace and love, I decided we had a question from Minigun about favorite genus and species, and I forgot whose turn it was, but do you have a favorite genus and species, Ryan, that you're currently keeping?
My Flavis. I absolutely love my Lacey's Flavis colony. I just want them to grow quicker. I love them just because they're native, they're really, really beautiful, the workers. I still find it mad how different they are. Like Lacey's Flavis to a Lacey's Niger colony, like the difference in the workers, like habits, colour, everything. I don't know, I just really, really love them. But I've only got like maybe 10 workers at the moment, so I'm hoping that soon I'll have a bit of a boom with them, but we'll see.
Okay. So before you grace us with your presence, we did have a couple questions.
I'm not very graceful, mate. Don't worry.
Oh, you're fine. We did have a couple questions that was asked beforehand. We want to make sure that you actually have a chance to answer them. So the question I asked before was why ant keeping, and then Happy Ant UK kind of like added on to that and was like, do you openly talk about your hobby to friends or people at work? And if so, what is their reaction to you keeping ants?
Why ants? I think it was actually Ants Canada, Ants Britannia. One of the main reasons I sort of got into it.
Whoa.
Main reason lately as well was I was with watching like a lot of Ants Holifer videos as well, and he was also one. I watched his Mamika Rubra setup, the how-to video, and honestly, I just sort of fell in love with it, and I just thought to myself, I've been sort of on and off trying to work this out, because I actually had about 2 years ago Fidoli Peligula, am I saying that right, colony, and they did really well, but then I ended up moving out and gave them away, and anyway, I kind of wish I never did, but regardless, so that's what made me start. But yeah, I actively tell people at work that I keep ants or millipedes, whatever. They all think I'm bizarre as anything, but hey, if you don't embrace it, then you're weird. However, if you do embrace it, you just become that quirky guy at work, right?
Right.
So yeah, man.
So I normally just like will randomly so I work at Cintas, and it's a company where we make uniforms, and I go around. My part of my job at Cintas is I go around and I deep clean restrooms and I spray sanitizer all over like desks and stuff, because COVID's a big scary thing now. But that's my main job, and whenever I'm going around and I'm talking to a customer and I'm thinking, okay, what can I talk to customers about? My first thing I think about is either fishing or ant keeping. So I normally just talk to them about my ants. I'm like, yeah, so like my ants did this, and they decided to like cover their outworld in blue liquid, which it wasn't the ant's fault, it was the liquid feeder. But like I bring it up, and some people are like, that's really cool, or they'll be like, you're weird, because why would you keep ants? Well, why would you keep a dog? So.
Yeah. I actually got I got. Do you know those sort of I forgot the name of the brands, but they make like ant out things for kids. What are they? Like the one where it's like an island, you can have like water isopods and all that sort of stuff in it, and they're like starter kits for kids. I remember I went to someone basically
sea monkeys.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So someone put on Facebook like recently, it was about 5 months ago, maybe it's before I got my like setup and things, and they were like, "Oh, I'm getting rid of these things," and I thought, "Oh, great! Well, see where he's from." I thought it'd be miles away, and he was just literally like 15 minutes away from me, which kind of blew my mind.
Wow.
So I went down and got them from him, and me and him were talking for ages, and he actually said to me at first when I got there, he said, "I didn't think you were actually going to turn up, but I actually thought if you did, that you were like, it was a scam or something, you were going to come and try and do things." He said, because like ant keeping's weird, and he thought, "Oh, like this person's going to come round and rob me because I'm just like a weird ant keeper." And I was like, "What?" So he actually thought I was trying to get them because he thought it was something like I was going to go around and rob him because he was an ant keeper and he'd be like nerdy or whatever. I don't know, but like it's just weird how people think or what people think about it.
Right.
When you mentioned sea monkeys, it's actually terrifying because sea monkeys don't exist in the wild. They're like genetically engineered. It's so creepy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Because when you said that, I looked it up just now, and yeah, they don't even exist in the wild. It's just they were made in a lab, and that's where they've been produced ever since. It's so strange. Right, sorry for interrupting.
Oh,
Continue,
you're
sorry.
good.
How dare you?
So I'm not sure did everybody answer the question about favorite genus and species? I'm like completely like
No, I didn't
think so.
actually.
Okay.
I have a weird ant story though.
Oh, do you?
about the
There's 20
about the
people
ant
watching.
keeping hobby.
Okay.
Yeah, I
let-
just spammed everyone in in my Discord DM, so
Good.
few people are coming. But
Nice.
I once read a story. I've actually read two stories. One is not so fun. The other one's pretty fun. So I read one story of a person that was searching for queens,
Mhm.
and suddenly, so he was with his test tube catching queens and stuff. Suddenly, cops came, military vehicles, almost a whole SWAT team, guns pulled at him. He was held under shot because people in the neighborhood were thinking he was planting bombs all over town.
Wow.
I remember Ender Ants had a similar experience to this.
Damn.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that was really insane. And then I heard one story recently in one of the Discord servers. I don't know if it's true. So I will say that. But I heard one story that the guy was caring for his fire ant colony, and actually the outworld fell into his face,
Oh
uh,
god.
and he got stung so much that he ended up being in a coma. But I can't
Wow.
confirm if that's a true story. But the story was so detailed, almost can't be fake. So, but that's
Wow.
But you
So
could probably calculate how much solanopsin it would take to actually
yeah.
knock you out.
Hey, Urban, go ahead and talk about what your favorite genus and species is, and then I actually got a story, two stories actually, and then we go on to the next question.
Yeah, I've got a story too.
Okay, so-
I'd say my favorite genus would be either Novomessa or Amicia.
nice.
Especially Novomessa cockerelli. I just find them really cool with their like long legs and just yeah, they're cool. And then Mimicia, it's Mimicia. They're like big. Specifically Mimicia piliventris. They have like a golden gaster, and I just think looks so cool.
All right. You said you had a story.
Yeah. So around a year ago now, I moved my Mamakarubra colony into a new setup, and I came down one day. All like the mosses and stuff were dead, and I could see like these little white streaks all around like the jar. And I looked closer, and I saw that they were moving. So I realized that I must have fed them like some mealworm or cockroach that had like some sort of parasitic worm in it. And these worms were like pulsating around the setup, and I think they ate like a good chunk of the ants' eggs. So I had to go in and like move the ants manually with a spoon to a new setup. And then the setup left over, I just like poured boiling water in it because like you went in to smell it and it was just like so horrible. It was like off milk but worse.
Dang. So we're getting a little bit of an echo in the background. Make sure that either you're muted when you're not talking, or if you're have the YouTube video that it's muted so that it doesn't
Landscapes.
Oh, escapes.
Yeah, it's definitely me. I was just staying quiet in the corner, like,
Okay,
I have no
tried-
idea. Do I just leave the YouTube
no.
video, or
No, so
No, it's
just,
up to- no, you can-
mute the YouTube.
Just
so
turn it
that-
down.
I'll just do this.
All right. Okay. We lost him.
No, he's still there. He just muted it. But so my mentor actually, I was telling him that I'm keeping ants, and he's like, "Dude, that's really cool."
I cannot turned up late, guys. Give me a break, okay?
All right. So I got a I was talking to my mentor about keeping ants, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool." And like, he's like, every time I see ants, I never want to step on them because for some reason I feel like, they're special or something like that. But he told me that he, so over in like California where he's from, him and his friends actually like fell into a fire ant nest and like got stung a bunch of times.
Oh,
And then I remember when I lived in Brazil about probably like 10 years ago, probably like 6 years ago or something. I lived there for about 6 years. My stepbrother and my stepsister were climbing a tree and they got stung by like some ants and they like numbed their whole leg. I don't know what kind of ant it was, but that's probably like the only real story I have on crazy ant stories, other than my own. But yeah. So we have a question from, was that Exalti? What's your favorite Fornicarium and how many colonies do you own? So for myself, I would probably say my favorite right now is probably Tar Heel Ants is like the only Fornicarium that I really have currently. I do get a bunch of other stuff, but I don't really. Well, I do have exotic ants. This the medium sized nest, right? Is that the size that I have from you?
Yeah.
I love it, but I haven't decided what I'm gonna put in there yet. I'll probably wait until one of these other ants start having workers. But other than that, I only have the one colony, harvester colony, and the rest are like still founding stage. What about everybody else? Does everybody have like a
We do
favorite?
have people in the waiting room, by the way.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I just noticed we have two
Sweet.
people.
Cool. Yeah, we'll bring them in after the break, actually. So does anybody have a favorite Fornicarium specifically?
So-
I'm kind of like. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll be fast. Okay, for a really long time, I really loved the mini hearth from Tar Heel Ants. All right, I loved it. But the only issue I have with it is so hard to clean. If it gets moldy, it's done. It's impossible. There's mold in the outworld of that thing, and I scraped away so many layers of sand trying to get it out, and it just keeps coming back.
Yep.
So I don't know what to do. But with like Ants Australian nests, I think I find them like really good for the fact that you can just take them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Never like those are definitely my favorite, but then Tar Heel Ants mini hearth comes in a close second.
Yeah, so I did order some stuff from Poemore Art, and so they're sending me some stuff, and I think they're sending me a starter Fornicarium because I ordered one of the all-in-one like feeding kit that they were gonna send me, but then Lexi was like, I'm not sure if it's gonna actually arrive, so let's switch it out because I guess it's like something across the border where you can't send like specific stuff across the border. But she was like, we'll send a I think like a starter or founding Fornicarium. So I'll get one of those and I'll get to do an unboxing when I get those. But I'm excited for that.
Dude, Paramore has the most one of the the shop is really new, but they have one of the most creative nests and coolest nests I think on the ant keeping market right now. But they're so like low key.
Yeah.
Can someone link
sadly.
that? I haven't seen that yet.
Who are we talking about?
Pour more.
Paramore art, but yeah, the sad thing is I wanted to order from them, but then I saw shipping and I thought nope.
Yeah, it's shipping.
What's the? Can someone link it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
if you
I'll
can.
send it.
Yeah, I haven't had of that. Just like put it in
I'll put in
the
panelists.
panelists or general.
So yeah, for me, everyone now thinks that I'm gonna say my own nest, but that's not true. So actually, I first was really a simple like the Wakushi nest because I just loved the system and the whole thing. But Ant Lab recently sent me one of their new fusion nests, and I've got to say this is one of the sickest ant
sponsorship?
nests I ever see. Maybe yeah, it was sent to me but
Is this
for
what
free.
this is right now?
Yeah. No, but yeah, I love the new nests, and yeah, I think the white dong and acrylic mixture is just very, very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah, I've
looks
been
of it.
thinking of buying one of those for review.
Nice.
Yeah, they are great. Can recommend.
So, speaking of Wakusi, I am planning on interviewing them. We did talk, and they said that not right now, but they said definitely in the future. So keep your heads up on that. You guys are the first. This is the first time I'm actually mentioning it live. Is I will be interviewing Wakusi, so I'm pretty pumped
Dude,
for
the
that.
guy is great.
Yeah.
Talk with him a lot. He is awesome.
So I can't wait to get into that. Does anybody want to pitch in on this question, or should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, someone go, and then I have something to say that I just found.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say it's split between the Ants Australia acrylic nest. It's definitely not the ant home. I don't like the ant home. It's not good. I might get into why I don't like the ant home later.
You're savage. Damn, you savage.
a little bit off topic, but I think at the moment it's
And home is not
genuinely
that great. Yeah.
it's genuinely the pathetic ants nest that he sent to me. Not sponsored, by the way.
Well, the nest was sponsored.
Well, sponsored, but also what I'm saying is, you
You
get
say
it.
this on your own heart.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I tried hydrating it the other day, and with my other nests, like you hydrate it, the chamber fills with water, and then the sponge absorbs it. Whereas with that one, like I just injected it, the sponge just like immediately sucked it up. It didn't like fill up with water; it just went straight into the sponge.
Shoot.
I just thought,
Mm-hmm.
and that was cool.
Cool. Yes, but
Can
totally.
I-
Yep.
All right, before I move on, totally unrelated, but I just reopened my Sea Monkeys tab by accident.
Oh.
Yeah, they're alive when you buy them in the box. They
Oh.
live in an ultra dry climate, and they're not eggs. So if you've ever heard them, it's like, oh, you have to hatch them. Nope, they're actually alive the entire time.
Wait, what
That
are
is
these
terror.
things called again?
Sea monkeys,
Sea
like when you buy them in
Oh,
the
wow.
packets, they're alive in those packets the entire time. They just can't move because they don't have water. That's so scary.
What?
Oh my god.
Okay, sorry.
So they're just like
Yeah, they're
so they're just like stuck there in like
Yes.
It's like a
It's so
jeez.
a.
It's like a plant in it. It's like a seed.
It says it's ethical to keep sea monkeys because, in fact, you'd be saving their lives. Sea monkeys are bind shrimp that live in extreme dryness. When they are in the state, you cannot tell they are alive. But when you put them in water, they become hydrated, and now you've given them the life they deserve.
You can buy
Oh,
That's so
Yikes.
scary.
Oh my
That's so scary that they're alive the whole time.
That sounds like a
That's-
really
And they're
inhumane.
like
Isn't it
shelf
fish
stable
food?
for like
or-
50 years or something.
Yeah,
So
that's
they could be
so
living for like
weird.
50
I think
years
so.
alive,
This-
just
yeah.
like not able to move.
Also, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people waiting in the waiting room now.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah, we have
We
lots of
let
people.
some people in.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, we
But-
should try to do
But
that.
half of them
Let
is
them
is
in.
the panelists from tomorrow, so that's kind of a cheating if they join after the break.
Oh no, that's fine. So I was actually gonna watch this video.
You're
of
looking
the
at sea monkeys.
but I'll watch that later.
Yeah,
So
there was one question in the chat though, which I would like to ask the others because I know I have a very different opinion on that with most people, and it was: should you feed your ants live feed? Should you do live feeding or not? That was the question.
Personally, for me, it would be a no, just because I find it a lot more ethical to just, kill the thing beforehand so that it doesn't have to struggle and.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, put it out of its misery before it pre-feed.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, well.
I
think-
what are you
I think
well, it's
definitely-
kind of entertaining.
Well, I have to think about the stuff I want to say now because it would maybe get me in trouble. But well, without naming names, there are some people that feed live stuff to their ants.
Lights, camera, ants.
And safe.
For example, and it just
I'm
I
just
think
kidding,
it's
I'm just
horrible because the problem is that if you know what you're doing, it's fine, But there are so many like children looking up to us and watching our videos for information and stuff, and I don't think a 12-year-old kid should feed a giant wasp or hornet in their founding colony.
Yeah,
think
that was
yeah.
pretty.
Quality.
That's pretty.
Yeah, I
so
think
yeah.
that's pretty savage.
Nice.
But
So
yeah, I
No, I
disagree
think-
with live
For-
feeding.
Yeah, for myself, I mean, at first my rugged notice, I had to feed them live. They wouldn't take dead food, but now I actively chop them up or boil them, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I always felt like horrible doing it at first, especially like I just didn't have the heart to put them in and watch them suffer. So like sometimes I'd just leave my phone on a time lapse and leave the room and like pretend like it was all okay. But now that I can chop them up and just leave them there, that's all I've been doing really. But I've seen some videos of people where, yeah, they've got a test tube set up and they're putting like, mealworms in and stuff, and they're just like mainly disturbing everything else. And you're thinking, Jesus, it's going on for like 3 hours. It's just wriggling around until it's dead. Yeah.
So I do have a question from Sep Ants Quebec for me is: are you planning on getting other insects/invertebrates other than ants? I personally keep exotic praying mantis and thinking about getting tarantulas. At the moment, I'd probably say no. I think what work I have coming up here with the rest of these ants is probably gonna be a lot before I even think about maybe like I do have a friend that keeps cockroaches. I don't know about that, but I've thought about possibly like crickets or feeder insects. I was thinking about like doing mealworms or something like that, but it's probably it for now. We do
That'd
have
be cool.
we do have a question from Anime Ants to Ants Manitoba, and it is, when are you going to upload again? I have something on Instagram. You want me to play that?
Well, I mean, this is perfect timing because if you go look at my Instagram story, that'll answer your question as of right now. But yes, that video will be dropping on the 10th of April. And it'll be a very interesting video for a lot of people. So, yeah, definitely tune into that one because that one will be a little bit different. But
Yep, for sure.
are you gonna put it over the thing?
I-
Is it gonna actually play?
Yeah, it's playing, but I muted the sound, so I don't want
Okay,
to
okay.
bleed over. But see you then. Yep. So yeah, definitely check out his Instagram page. You can see it
Also, if you're gonna try and keep mealworms, I highly recommend. I bought this thing off of this this website called Bobia. And it's actually about like eating food, like you use mealworms as your food,
Oh.
but like for like actually eating. But it's like a little mealworm farm that has 3 layers to it, and it sits in like a little hexagon. And I've been using it for like a month so far, and it's super effective. I highly recommend anyone that wants to use that as a mealworm farm do it. It is a really good way to keep everything organized. And it's way bigger than you think it is as well. It's like the size of a frisbee in size. I don't know what kind of frisbees everyone has, but
Yeah.
it's like a little smaller than a steering wheel, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can house a lot.
Interesting. So we do have a question from Emon. I think that's how you pronounce the name. How can I no longer be scared of insects / ants? Does anybody want to answer this question?
Well, she joined the server because her brother joined my
Oh.
server, but yeah, she's just kidding. It's not a serious question.
I mean, I was scared
Yeah.
to get stung, so when I was doing trimming, I was kind of like purposely making sure I got stung.
Oh.
And then now I'm not scared of getting stung because it was just like a nettle sting.
So, is your advice for me to stick my finger in my harvester ant's outworld and get stung?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Shit,
question.
I thought that went another way, that question.
100%. You might gain powers, who knows?
If you want views, you can stick your hand in a outworld for sure.
Oh gosh.
Not for the views, just for yourself.
Just for
For
myself.
yourself
Yeah.
anxiety.
Maybe
Nice.
maybe it's a cure against COVID. Just try it if you think that's true.
that brave wilderness. Have you seen him when he gets purposely stung by things?
If you think that's a good
Yeah.
idea, then go put that iron ball for me in the microwave. Well, yeah, thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't want to get stung by a bullet ant. I mean, something like that would just no way,
Yeah,
But,
speaking of bullet ants, I think if I ever get to 100,000 subscribers, I'll be the 100k special. Getting stung by a bullet ant. Because that's a
my
good
God.
incentive to subscribe, because it means that you'll eventually get to see me in extreme pain.
Shoot.
But
Isn't
aren't
that kind of-
aren't the most toxic ants or most venomous ants from America? I forgot the name of them.
The Pogonomamax.
Ah, yeah.
Can't remember the exact species name. Hold on. Oh.
Ants Manitoba probably knows.
Yeah,
But he is
I was responding to something. What did you say?
That's Pogonomamax maricopa.
the most yeah, but I don't know if their sting hurts or anything, but since they are the most toxic, I would guess that
Yeah.
would be the most painful. And Manito, what are you doing? Are you framing my comment?
What?
He's printing it out.
Thousands of copies.
Right.
That's my new wallpaper in my bedroom.
So to end these questions before we go into the panel, So Antscapes, I did a reaction video to your unboxing of High Tech Ants foundation Formicarium kit thing.
Hmm.
There was some questions that we raised during watching that video, and I do not remember all of them. I do remember what do you use to record your YouTube videos. Was there anything else that you can think of that you
Microwave.
wanted to answer?
No, I think it was literally what I'm recording on. But yeah, I just use my phone, mate. It's an iPhone 10 or 11.
And
And that's it. Yeah.
do you use a tripod? Because we were wondering if you use a tripod or not.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah. No, it's like
That's the one.
That was the question.
it's,
That's the one.
it's kind of like an arm that you can bend, like a metal arm it can bend. So it does. I tend to find like literally you could knock it a little bit and it'll shake for a while, which is frustrating. But it's just, I mean, I wasn't really serious in this when I first started doing it. I just wanted to upload some stuff, hence why I've just got a mobile phone, and that's all I use, mate. But
Nice.
I've bought a new camera. I'm still learning and things like that about it. So
That's cool.
Oh, what camera is it?
I don't know. I actually
Those
don't.
are
I
the
know
best
it's Canon.
ones.
I know it's a
Those are
Canon.
the best ones.
No, it's not. It's
No
really
idea.
old. Like it was. It's an old camera, but yeah, I don't know.
Quality is fine
a
though,
Canon.
so I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, the camera I use, I've only used it for a close-up shot, which was for my Lasius flavus colony, and that was literally it. I've used like close-ups with that, and then on my update on my rubber notice like last week or the week before. So
Nice.
I've only used it a couple times.
All right. So before we go into the break, is there any questions you may have for one another?
I just wanted to quickly say something, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say it was nice to just meet everyone finally and talk to people. Obviously, I've talked to Ants Manitoba before,
Yeah.
but I've not talked to the rest of you guys. So yeah, it's just nice to meet you all.
Yeah. Same
Yeah,
here, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, man.
well,
Yeah.
I do
Same-
appreciate
same
that.
goes back.
Like with the maybe we don't talk that much, especially if you are like on the top. Then it's getting harder and harder to like talk with your viewers and stuff. But I really appreciate that you join like community projects like I believe the Ant Oliver show. Most of you join and stuff. So yeah, that's really nice to invest back into those smaller YouTubers, I guess. So yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
So
thanks, man.
we're gonna go into a break really quick, everybody. So for all the people that are the panelists, the guys that are guesting, if you guys want to take a quick 2-minute break, if you need to go stretch or get something to drink or go to the bathroom, go ahead and do that now. Make sure you mute yourself while I explain to the audience how this panel is going to work. But before this, we're going to go into an actual audio break, just so that I remember when I'm editing it, I can actually correct it and put the actual ad in. So everybody that's listening, this is how a panel is going to work. Welcome to the first Formicast panel of 2021. This is how it's going to work. Every other month, I will gather the known content creators and hobbyists, etc., to sit down, quote unquote, and we will let you, the listeners, viewers, and subscribers, to ask us the deepest, most daring questions you may have for us, or about us. So how to get in? You must be on the Discord, be waiting in the waiting room voice channel for admission. You will mute your mic and wait until it's your turn. Normally, I will allow one person at a time to ask a certain question. You can ask either one person or all of us about that question. For example, let's say Minigun has a question for Ants Manitoba. He would unmute his mic. Everyone else would mute themselves except for myself and other guests, due to allow them to put their input when asked or led to. Keep things civil. So make sure you guys aren't, like cussing or, telling people to go F themselves or anything like that. Keep it civil. Remember, you must be on our Discord to participate in this panel. We got one right now, and then we got one tomorrow as well. Any other questions will be allowed at the end of chat. So let's begin. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the Easter special channel and allow the people in the waiting room to hop over. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And they can go ahead and pop over. Make sure you're muted. right. And then the actual video or the actual audio, I'll make sure to. Got a lot of people in there. Shoot. You guys,
wait.
you guys can go ahead and join the
Hello.
the Easter special channel. Go ahead.
Yeah,
and hop
you
over.
can also buy Componotis for free.
Damn, son.
Wait.
Just to ask a question or
Shh. I'm just kidding.
All right. So make sure everybody is in here first. People are starting to hop over from the waiting room. All this stuff I'll probably just cut out to remind myself. All right, so we got Keepy Ant still in waiting room, and we got Stygian also. So I will go ahead and I will allow Anime Ants to go ahead and start. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, I can't unmute him myself. You guys can unmute yourselves, by the way.
No.
is this gonna be like us asking
good?
questions or like
Pretty much
a discussion?
So there you go. You guys are pretty much going to ask questions to either myself or anybody else that's in the panel, either directly at one person or the group.
How do we queue in for the questions?
So who's got a question first?
I guess I can go.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Anime
do.
Ants.
Ants Manitoba.
Yes.
I've asked you so many questions.
Have you?
Let's give another.
Okay.
Hello?
What was your number one video that got you the most popular?
Okay, well it kind of depends because okay. So I think that the popularity of a lot of our channels hasn't been based off of videos but more or less on community, because a lot of our channels could not have grown to where we are without the community we're a part of. Like it's a really hard environment in this niche to just start uploading and never talk to anybody else. Like it would be awfully hard. My most viewed video on YouTube was a tutorial that will probably get views until the end of time because it's in search really well, which is my how to catch a queen ant. But honestly, it probably came from most of my growth. I wouldn't say that it really helped me, but it got me a bunch more subscribers and views, which was my TikTok account, which, if you're unfamiliar, has 140,000 followers, and my most viewed video being 7 million, which was super great, but it didn't really help me in the sense of getting viewers that were actually interested in ant keeping. Like, a lot of them were just subscribers that are probably dead now.
Awesome.
If that makes sense.
Cool. All right, so we got a question from Stygian. Go ahead, bud. You had something you wanted to say? I realize I'm going to have a lot to edit out. That's fine. Stygian? Stijn?
It's me. You pronounce it like Stein.
Okay. Go ahead. You had a
Okay,
question you
like
wanted to
this
ask?
is for everyone. Like,
Okay.
what is your favorite store to purchase something? Like something for your ants or a nest or anything.
Ant Keeping Depot, 100%.
Nah, aesthetic ants. 100%.
Please sponsor me, Ant Keeping Depot.
Wakusta for me. I love Wakusta.
Nice. I was gonna say Utah Ant Shop, but after that leaky feeder, I'm gonna pass and go to someone else now.
And the only reason I'm saying Ant Keeping Depot is probably because of the shipping prices. That's like the defining thing on a lot of them, I find, because a lot of some can be brutal.
Yeah, I need to look
Ants
into
Canada.
Well, I would have
That is
said,
insane. Like, that is not even
okay.
fair.
because
There's a $2
you know
thing and
they're
it's $60 to ship. Sorry, go ahead.
60. Oh, mad. Yeah, I would say Antkit, but you know they're not around anymore because they were UK based, so that was good for you know, shipping prices.
Yeah. I kind of
And keeping Depot to the UK is like £20, at least it was for me, which is like 25 US dollars, maybe 30 Canadian. So yeah, it's still not that good.
awesome. Minigun, you had something you wanted to bring up for discussion?
This is kind of a question for everyone. Just like, I guess I would like for you to discuss it. Like, what is the best continent for like that has the coolest species? Like, what continent is the best for like just the
Australia.
coolest
Asia.
ants?
South America.
Australia. If it's
Definitely
anything other than
Australia.
Australia, there's literally
Australia.
nothing else other than Australia.
South America.
Africa.
South America.
Yeah,
Bro,
Africa's
have
pretty
you
cool
seen
too.
I'd say Asia
I
or
think so
Australia.
much hasn't been
Legit
documented in
aliens.
Africa that we don't even know is out there.
Same thing
I mean,
with
You guys
South
ready
Yeah.
to try
America,
Antarctica?
Antarctica.
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 many
I think
many
South
ants will live
Africa,
there.
South America is pretty well studied.
Eskimo ants.
I'm going to say UK just
I-
because I live there.
I like the Philippines most because they have the AC familias. I really want that ant.
Yo, good joke.
All right. So, Chad Griffin, you had a question that you wrote in chat. Do you want to go ahead and go over that? Wait, is he here still? Nope, he's not here. I will go ahead and
We
ask that
lost
question
him.
then. His question was, "What's your number one ant keeping tip?"
Shoot.
Do your research.
Always feed liquid food on cotton so the ants don't drown. That's probably my top tip.
Oh, there he is. Ants Griffin or Chad Griffin. You want to go ahead and ask that question? You had another question, or is that the one you were gonna ask?
You're muted.
Okay, that's the one he was asking.
That's
All
a
right.
really good question.
That's a very good question. Shoot, I'm still kind of new at it. But yeah, I'll let the more professional people answer that question. Yes, everybody can answer the questions.
We're just thinking because we're lost. I don't know what to say.
Wait,
Okay.
what was the question again?
The question was, "What's your number one tip?"
I
Yeah,
have
good
a
tip.
tip.
Okay, I got one. Make sure that you're always feeding your feeders exactly the best things you can feed them, because what your feeders eat is what your ants eat, and that's why it's so important.
That's good.
Because I feel like some people just buy mealworms and leave them for 3 months and just eat them in there. And
Okay, don't buy any ant species when you don't have any experience.
that's true.
Like I see some people who just got into ant keeping like 1 month ago, and like they want some Carabara diversa. I'm like, bro,
Well,
like, just take a Lasius and be happy.
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake in ant keeping made by beginners, what I see, well, definitely on Facebook, and they are for some reason all moms and Karens, I guess. But the biggest thing I see people do is moving ants to a nest that is way too big to them. But I mean, moving a 7 worker colony into the largest ants Canada nest and stuff like that, it's just insane. And yeah, I don't know how we can educate the people because it keeps going wrong. And they don't understand if you leave a comment, the nest is way too big. Yeah, they don't understand that. Yeah, I don't know. Any suggestions how we could educate the people?
I'll be right back.
There's not much we can really do, is there, other than keep making videos on, telling people that to not move colonies before they're ready. That's probably the only thing we can keep on doing, to be honest.
You guys tackle the YouTube, I'll tackle the audio waves.
I'd also say leave them as well. Like when, especially found in colonies, just leave them as much as you want to check up on them.
Yeah.
Leave them is like key.
Well, you know how tempting it is? I have over here to my left, I have 4 Chromatogaster, 1 Formica, and then I have 12 Lasius queens, all with eggs. And it's so badly I want to like stare at them and look at them, and I'm like, no, just leave them there, leave them there.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like,
I think patience is a really big tip, because some of the beginners, and I'm a beginner too, just remove the thing you had laid to keep the nest or test tube dark every hour. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I've got a tip.
Okay, go ahead.
I made this mistake before. Last year I started ant keeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was digging out for colonies, right? I didn't have any professional equipment. I found a jar of cashews, emptied out the cashews, put them in another container, used that container for their nest, put a bunch of dirt in it, used the Vaseline barrier. Worst barrier ever, by the way. Didn't know what colony I put in there. I just chopped up some logs, threw the logs in there. Turns out they're Tapanoma.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
And the
Oh
lid,
no. Oh
the
no.
screw on. So they would just go through
It's
the
over.
stuff, and they were all over my room.
Oh gosh.
Vaseline is so
Like-
bad.
Anything Tapanoma's
Can
not
I,
a good
can I say a tip
Yeah, go ahead.
that I have? This is like something that like most ant keepers honestly don't do, but I honestly think it's one of the best things you can do as an ant keeper is to like talk to other ant keepers.
Mhm.
Like you can learn so much by just talking to other people, asking questions, like whether it be on Discord, on forums, or on Instagram. Like talk to ant keepers. That's like there's a lot of misinformation and other things,
Yep.
right? But if you want to avoid misinformation and you want to like talk to ant keepers, like I'm in so many Discord servers, and like I've learned so much by talking to like some of the most experienced ant keepers out there, just like on Discord, and it's like such a good way to learn about ant keeping and to make sure like if you think you're doing something wrong, you could just ask another ant keeper who like knows more than you, and it's just it's such not enough people do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why we're doing this, is so that ant keepers can talk to one another. That's the whole point of it.
Exactly.
Most of the stuff I've learned was from minigun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to
Minigun
talk
and I
with
talk
minigun
all
a
the time.
lot of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Like a year ago, I think.
Nice. All right. Does
I'm
any of-
curious. Did the GAN Ant project ever work? Like, has anybody here ever bought from the?
I can't say I have because I live in the middle of nowhere. That would never happen. But I actually do know quite a few people, nearby city who has done like a whole bunch of trades through GAN, like probably 25.
But isn't it
start
like
selling stuff on
extremely overpriced?
That's
I'm
the
not
whole
sure.
point.
I've never
bought
looked
them.
into it. I'm just taking his word. I actually have no idea. So maybe that's a good point.
No, it's
Well, if it's
completely
overpriced, it's not exactly Ants Canada's fault because it's the people
Yeah.
who set the
I'm
prices.
pretty sure it's Ants Canada's fault because he's kind of. Well, look at his nest as well. They're like 50 quid per AC hybrid nest, and then you look at like say aesthetics, which is you can
Yeah.
probably fit the same amount of workers in for half the price.
Whenever I talk to people about ant keeping, I tend to, like, especially people that don't keep ants, like, especially a lot of my friends from church and stuff, they'll be like, oh yeah, there's this one YouTuber I watch, Ants Canada. And I'll
Yeah.
be like, wait a minute, like, okay, yeah, he's an ant keeper, but he's more about entertainment. Like, do you watch anybody else that does the hobby? Like,
I think that's what the problem is so many people get that wrong. It's such a sensitive topic, but like Ants Canada really is like he switched his content for a good cause. In a sense, he's attracting a lot of new viewers. He gets on trending like every 4 weeks, and it attracts a whole bunch of new people, and then we have new people join our community. So really, if he didn't exist, none of us would exist probably either.
True.
right?
He adds the
But
community.
the thing is,
And then
Ants
he's
Canada is
smaller.
not a creator; it's a company right now.
Yeah.
That's the big difference.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Not like one of
100%,
those
mate.
small
100%.
personal-
Like, I've tried so many times to get him on the show to interview him because
You probably won't, yeah.
No,
I've-
he probably
It's so
won't
difficult.
respond.
It's so difficult.
his like media team will answer, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's really really busy," or they'll be like, they'll come back to me later and be like, "Who are you again?"
Yeah,
Like,
well, they're gonna say that for the next 5 years.
yeah, so like I just asked them the last time I talked to them, I was like, "Okay, can you just give me an answer, like yes or no, so I can move on with my life?" Like,
Yeah.
so,
Well, I can vouch for the fact that he's busy all the time, because I know
Well,
how
yeah.
many channels he runs and how much stuff he's working on all the time.
Yeah.
He is very, very, very busy.
Yep.
Yeah, plus
yeah.
he's like a legit actor in the Philippines, like going off and doing like
Yeah, he does
adverts
commercials
and
and
TV
everything.
stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't blame him for like I think if people were to reach out to him to do like anything with him, it would be something super short.
yeah.
Like just a really, really short something. I don't know what it would be, but like yeah, it's just he's definitely like if you give him a time, he would have no idea if he'd be available.
Yeah.
He's always like without COVID going on, he was on a plane every like second day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You've met him, haven't you?
I mean,
I have met him.
I mean, technically, he did do a collab with Australia back in
Yeah,
5-6 years ago. He was doing like featured GAN partners, and Australia was on an episode where he was explaining.
Right.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if I put my view on it?
Yes, go ahead.
I know I'm not part of the thing, but personally, I think if with how he is now, certainly with the Ants Australia thing, that was just to get more views, and I think the only way you're going to get an interview now is if you offered up cash, because that just seems to be how it's gone with him.
Well,
and
yeah,
as you guys say,
it starts with his media team. It does really start with his media team. That's the biggest.
Yeah, but it's kind of like now everything just comes across as a money grab, and I don't mean to bash the guy. He does a lot for the hobby, but it just seems like ever since he changed his format sort of 6 years ago, that's kind of just the focus. It's either money or views, and that's it. So unless you have more subscribers than him, he isn't interested. Or unless you're putting cash up, he isn't interested because he sees it as a job rather than a hobby.
Okay, well, hang
So
on.
you don't have to
I don't want to
have
sound
more
like I'm sucking
subscribers than him necessarily, because he did that one with Sup Design a while back, and he had like
that is true. Yeah.
400K
Yeah, but
at the time.
he looks up to Serpa Design and he loves what Serpa Design does. So in a sense, like that's kind of like the hobby aspect of it, and also from what I know, is Serpa Design's helped out with how he's created his natural biomes and stuff like that. When he says that someone's created it, he gets those kind of people involved where he sees them as specialists in their department.
Okay. So hang on. Let me just add one thing, okay? Because this is something that like I can see it more on his end if you think of it like this. The number one thing on YouTube that is popular and that always like it's the biggest thing that's involved in YouTube videos is the aspect of telling a story. That's what Ants Australia does as well. He just doesn't do it as much as Ants Canada does, in the sense that like with Ants Australia, you're following him on a journey where he goes to these places and he's like telling the story of like, you know what I mean? Like he's going through the documentary and like kind of making a story out of it. With Ants Canada, it's the same way. So like I haven't been active for quite a long time, and this video that's coming out has to do with that. And part of it is because I've been deep diving into the way YouTube works and like really trying to understand it as best that I can. And I really, after doing that, you don't have to take my credibility for that either. I see why he went the way he did, because he is creating a way that he can make a story out of his content. Like when he sits down to record, it's not which colony am I going to record? It's like, let's make a story out of what this is, which is why his videos are the way they are, because no one's going to sit through a 30-minute video about him just talking. I mean, maybe we would if we were interested, but it's like, then he would never grow. You know, you have to make videos for...
Yeah, his videos are for people who either never heard of ant keeping or have watched like one or two videos. It's not for people who are like experienced.
And I think that... So just to put this
because
out
your
here,
audience of experienced people are like probably under 100,000. Your audience of people who haven't heard of ant keeping is like literal billions.
Yeah. So I haven't really talked about this yet, but right now he is building a brand new house.
I saw that.
And when that is finished, I have been invited to fly out and do an interview with him at his actual house, and I will be I will be in Philippines. So here's where the communication that I see the biggest problem. This is why I always defend him, because this is what I see happen. I've talked to his media team before. It isn't always an awesome experience, but how it went was we invited him to this chat, and he actually joined with his actual phone number, and we were all freaking out. And then I added him on what we were using and started talking to him separately, and he kept talking to me, and that's actually before I met him.
Oh.
And then I met him, and then from there it was like a more personal connection. And not to say like I know him, because I really don't. I met him one time for like 45 seconds before he was 30 minutes overdue on a meet and greet, but I had kept talking to him, and we arranged something where I'm gonna, fly out there and talk to him and like get like some sort of video with that. And he's totally down for that. So when it's him by himself and you're talking directly to him, it is completely different than all the other ways you can contact him, because he does not run his Instagram, he does not run his Facebook. You have zero connection to actual him. And once I had a connection to him and I was actually talking to him, it was completely different. Like that, because I think his media team is just, I don't know, they don't want to like waste his time, or like you would have to have a insanely good pitch to get him on a podcast or an episode. Like it would have to be really good, and I don't disagree with that. And the chances that I'm able to talk to him whenever I want, it stars just kind of aligned in the fact that a random DM that they were like, yeah, sure, you'll just hop right in. And I'm like, what?
You're a lucky guy.
That saddens me even more that that's the case. Like that I think that maybe deep down he isn't even happy in what he's doing. But I can't of course say that. But if I hear this, like he's getting controlled, that's how it sounds to me. Like he's getting controlled by his management and his manager. Keep pushing, keep making money. Basically, it's just a money machine. Instead of doing what he loves. Like maybe he would love to make some more tutorials. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think.
But we also don't know that, which is why I'm really excited to talk to him about that, because I also feel like, from my own experience, he might have wanted to take a storytelling aspect in the first place, because then again, he's also been doing all these other channels for so long, and they kind of have that aspect in them. Like all of his music videos were kind of telling stories, and like he's been doing this for really, really long time. And I think that like people's passions could change over time. I'm not saying that like he's being pushed by management team. If anything, I think that the management team is just like a brick wall. Like once, if you were to get through the brick wall, it would be very different, but the chances of you getting through that brick wall are so slim. Like
in a sense, it's like any
question.
celebrity, you're not going to be able to directly contact them like that. Because they are
So-
protected by a team.
So you said you're like, when you said you're like flying over or something, that you're not. Are you wait? Like, can you explain that? Like,
So what
do you
I'm
mean?
doing is, sometime once this house is like finished being built and everything like that, we're basically gonna just arrange a thing where I'm just gonna fly out to the Philippines for however long, and what I'm gonna do there, or the plan has not been set in stone yet at all. But the biggest thing that is gonna be happening is I'm gonna be like going to his house and recording some sort of video with him, or like getting able to talk to him about his experiences, like getting like a direct interview with him.
God, surprised he let you.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Which is like,
So-
I've been thinking about questions, because this has been like in the works for a year and a half now or more.
Wait,
Do you know,
there's
I'd say
something I
that would
want
be
to
good because
say.
I think what's happened is the disconnect between him as a personal person and sort of the business aspect of how his channel's gone.
Well, I like one thing that I like don't like about him, and there's obviously because he's so popular that kind of affects it, but like he represents like all innkeepers, right?
Yeah.
Like entirely. He's like by far the biggest like person in ant keeping, like to the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
but he's entirely disconnected from like the actual like ant keepers, right?
Yeah.
That is
like
very true. And
that
that is
like that's the and a lot of ant keepers like think he's a joke or like just don't even like him anymore. And I feel like he probably doesn't even know that. And I feel like
think
someone needs to just tell him.
like when
some of the
things happen
stunts he
over
pulled
Instagram.
have damaged his reputation.
Yeah.
Like
that is true.
The
I
You
think
know, feeding snot to the colony and other stuff where it's basically just drama every single time. Every time you tuned into the episode, it was like, oh my god, guess what, guys? Stay tuned to the end because this has happened.
Exactly.
And it was like every time it just got so repetitive and so boring, and it was like, well, what's the next drama? What's the next stunt for more subs? And I understand that he's trying to get people that aren't interested in ant keeping, but he's damaging the community that formed him. Really, I mean, would his channel have gone anywhere without the base of ant keepers?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you right now that if he switched his content back to how he was making content, like how you used to remember his content being, his channel would completely die.
He shouldn't switch his content. I just think he should be more like open to like ant keepers, like to actual ant keepers, and like I think he should try to like communicate.
You're not wrong
to,
there.
To
it's
actual,
like the only
like,
place
ant
he
keepers and-
exists is YouTube and polls. Like that's the only. Like you can.
That's the only way you can like talk to him.
Yeah, and
Or,
I
like,
think
have
the
an
biggest thing is that
impact.
he doesn't run his Instagram, and that's caused some things in the past where I've seen like posts being wrong and people get upset, and like there was this most recent thing where there was a poll about species, and the number of species we discovered, and it was wrong, and I had to just let him know, and then they changed it because like he doesn't know that, right? And I think that if any of you ever like deep dive and try to like learn as much as you can, you will understand that the decisions that he's making aren't stupid, but they probably should have been made earlier in his like what he's doing now is taking an approach where he's creating like almost a TV show. Like you have an episode series, which a lot of his viewers absolutely love. But the problem is the number one thing you have to do when starting a channel is identifying your audience. Like, who are you presenting these videos to? What happens is when you grow an audience off of these people like us, and then you switch your content up, we get frustrated because it's not what we want anymore. And that's where the whole defining your audience thing kind of went a little. That's why this is happening, because he did switch his content to something that maybe he did want to do more, or maybe because like I don't think he's in this for the money at all. And a lot of people think he is. I'm not gonna lie, he has done some things that may make it seem that way, like making a what is it, the AC Senate thing.
Senate.
I don't disagree. That is overpriced. But then again, it's completely optional, and if you did get it, it doesn't like. It's not like people are being forced.
When you watch his vlogs, it does seem that the business part of it is there because RJ Garcia, his partner, that's also his manager. He's also the director, the scripter. I mean, it was actually when RJ came onto the scene that his channel completely changed, and his ant keeping content is completely remotely done to the point where everything's done except for him doing the audio. And it just feels like to ant keepers that he's completely basically thrown away his hobby and his passion, or he's just not involved in that sense. And that's what it is. It's the ant keeping community that feels hurt by what he's done over time.
So,
whereas the people who aren't ant keepers, they don't care because they're in it just for the entertainment.
If
you hear me out on this.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so there is this guy that I recently learned about thanks to the Urban Ant Keeper, who is a Spanish ant YouTuber, and he has 1.5 million subscribers.
Yeah, I've seen him.
And he's just doing stuff we do. So
Yeah.
it is possible.
Yeah,
But
it is
yeah, you
possible.
gotta give it to Ants Canada. The man is a genius. You can't go
Yeah,
around that. He made $1 million business out of a non-existent hobby. I mean, come on. So yeah, in that regard, he is a genius.
If you were to put yourself in his shoes, and
I would done the same.
Think that kind of
Gone
content you could either create and content that would potentially be viral and potentially get a lot of people interested and grow your business as well. Who wouldn't take that opportunity? Like if you were him right now and you wanted to connect your
Actually, this
audience
kind of
more.
ties into my question, if you guys don't mind me slightly
Yeah,
just
go ahead,
changing
go
the
ahead. No,
subject
no,
on
go
it.
ahead,
But
go ahead.
my actual question was, what is your guys' overall dream? Like the biggest thing that you can achieve through your channel?
That's a really good
What
question.
would you
It's a
say
good
that
question.
is?
Yeah, let's change the subject.
No, I mean
Well,
it's still on, because if you look at Ants
Yeah.
Canada, that's kind of he has used it. Really, he's used the ant keeping to form a life
Yeah.
where he's able to afford all these things. He's able to travel around the world, and it's done so remotely that he carries on earning that money to be able to do so. Like from what I've seen online, if you look at the financial records, you can find his
Yeah.
YouTube channel is his biggest grossing income. So if you look at it that way, his YouTube channel pays for his life. But if you guys got into that situation, what would be your biggest dream to achieve?
I can tell you right now, he doesn't make nearly as much as you probably think he makes off of, especially when looking at the thing. Because I've asked him about that before, because I was blown away. Because like I remember a long time ago, it was like 1.1 million a year. So much of that doesn't come through because
Yeah,
it's
because
insane.
ant keeping has like a pretty low CPM compared
Exactly.
to other
And so much of
other
that goes back into
genres,
his
because
businesses and
because you
everything
just
like that.
can't like can't really advertise. Like if you do, I don't know, a Squarespace ad or whatever it is, that doesn't tie into what you're doing. Whereas if you're like a camera YouTuber, you can say, oh, Squarespace, you get this site because you can show off your photos.
And that's the one thing he
keeping is a
doesn't
lot
do.
harder to sponsor than.
On the other hand, we do make family-friendly content, which always gets promoted more on YouTube. So in that regard, our CPM rises a little bit, but
yeah,
it isn't great. Like tech channels make $15 a thousand views. Yeah, that's not something we can accomplish, but yeah, still.
And it is something to think about is the fact that he doesn't do like seamless sponsored videos where every video is Raid Shadow Legends. Like, in fact, I don't think I've ever seen a video from him that was sponsored by
Yeah,
anything.
he tried doing a Raid Shadow
Shadow.
Legends sponsor, but he
Right.
got like a lot higher dislikes than normal, so he didn't go forward with that after.
Right.
But JB, to answer your question, like what the dream would be with your
Yeah.
YouTube channel. So I have only started for 8 months, nearly reaching the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I think, well, the dream would for me would be, I'm now in my second year of film school. I've 1 more year to go, and then I completed my bachelor's. So I really want to try to make this a full-time job after my education, combined with a store, and then combined with YouTube. I think I can earn a income that can sustain my lifestyle. So that would be my ultimate dream. And if the opportunity presents itself, I would like to, with my education of studying film, to become a cameraman, director, etc. I would love to go to like South America and make documentaries about ants, or maybe just home documentaries, or doing like series where I go all over the world visiting ant keepers, stuff like that. Maybe I can work with some local TV shows, etc. That was kind of my that's my dream basically, and I think it's possible if I work hard enough.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll let everybody else that's panelists answer that question, and
Yeah.
we'll take any more questions, and then we will close for today.
For me,
Yeah,
no, go ahead. Go ahead. I always go first, so you go.
Thank you, thank you.
I literally always just
Personally, it's pretty much just getting the channel to a point where it finances itself, and I don't have to like like have it as a burden on me, so I can like buy like a proper camera. That's always been like my main dream, to be able to get like one of those like proper huge cinema cameras and like put out content in like 8K, and I just want to get footage so good that people will look at the screen and be like, that's incredible, I didn't know I could see ants in this much detail.
Right. I mean, you are doing a great job. I mean, Antscape
Yeah.
uses his phone for his videos, so.
You really don't have to have that good of a camera, but it is nice when you do.
No, I think like to gain
I've
audience
seen that
attention,
one.
having a really good camera would help more for that. But people like myself, sort of starting off low key, I guess. You you just have to use with what you've got, to hand. And before I even bought that random arm, which can help me film like time lapse and other things, then I generally like prop it up against, anything that I could find to hold it steady while I recorded. So you have to start. I always think you have to start at a certain point, and then hopefully, to the where it does start funding you, and you buy more equipment, more materials, and things like that. Yeah. So I agree.
So to answer that question of an keeper, I worked for school projects with a camera that's €15,000, and I can tell you, if you don't know the technique, if you don't know what you're doing, then you can pay the most expensive equipment possible, and it won't look good. So you don't need to go expensive.
Technique and lighting is like the most important thing.
So definitely don't go wasting your money on equipment.
Yeah.
Fix the lighting.
I've just been saving up at the moment to get like a proper lighting setup, like one of the aperture lights and like a big softbox and that.
That's pretty cool. And Britannia, do you have anything you want to say about this?
Hey man, sorry, I just realised I was on mute.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, sorry about that. Where do I see my channel going? Well, man, to be honest with you, I made the mistake in the beginning of not making informative tutorials. I wish out the gate, I wish I'd made those kind of videos. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on, hopefully, in the future. And my main focus is just to help new people. Honestly, speaking to all you guys and like obviously new people who have literally just started, it's so interesting learning how they've got into it. It's really interesting. But in terms of like pursuing it as like a full-time career, like YouTube, I don't know. I kind of take life day by day, so I'm just gonna see where it takes me.
Yeah, awesome. Anscapes, did you already answer this question?
I mean, yeah, it's not really, but the same, I guess, as most others. But that I'd like to have a career out of it. End of the day, for me, Antscapes was always something, or Ants was something that I was always doing. But as you've seen, like through other content, I'm keeping more exotics. I'm getting crescent geckos, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I hope that it could, go into a business. I've actually got something in the works at the moment, and so keep your eyes peeled for that. But it is essentially something within, sort of sending people natural setups. But I can't go into too much detail now because it's so like low key at the moment, in a sense that I haven't done massive amounts of research. I went the other day to get loads of materials and start getting like bulk of things, but then half the stuff I was looking for wasn't there, and it's kind of put like a stump in it because I work a lot as well. So but yeah, I mean, end of the day, I'd love to do that as a full-time career. I've had offerings at places near me. They teach children through nature, like children or kids who suffer with autism, things like that, and harder learning. So they teach them using nature. So they've asked me to go down and get a CRB check done alongside my other job and teach the kids and, let them interact with animals and build them setups as well. So I'm hoping, and this is like the start of it now. So I'm hoping that keeps going and, that I can just quit what I'm doing and, do this or something that I love, because then it kind of makes it not work. So, hey, nice. Optimistic.
So speaking of, we have a question actually for you, Antscapes, on YouTube. Rebecca Crook wants to know, you recently did an unboxing of an acrylic nest. Do you still prefer the natural setups over the recent nests, or is this the direction you're interested in going? Thanks, smiley face.
I know what he's going to say. You do a say. Yeah, so I love the nest, and it's always something that's worked for everyone else. So I can never say, oh, I don't like acrylic nests. I don't think they work. I think they're pointless, blah, blah, blah. I actually really, really like the nest, and I like that, in a sense that it mirrors everything else.
Right.
Within sort of even what a natural setup would mirror. But it was quite funny because I had someone asked me this yesterday, I think it is. But someone said, like, why do I prefer it? But for myself, I always think that it's more aesthetically pleasing. to look at something like that in your house, because you can make it part of the house, the decor, things like that. But I also actually seen ants work in like a natural environment. For me, was I actually just, I don't know, it's more relaxing. I find it like quite therapeutic watching them go around and carry, different egg development in the different parts of the nests, where you can see where, they prefer different humidities and things like that. And I've always been into sort of plants and aquatics more so than ants. So for me, I've always found it easier to work with it than to work with like acrylic nests sort of coming into it. And also at the same time, especially species like Formica rufa, who build massive giant molds, and they have an exact design of how they make the nest for getting different heat levels in and things like that. And I feel like in a natural setup they can mirror that best. Last year's flavas live off aphids, root aphids. And they also have a symbiotic relationship with springtails. And I don't know, I feel like if you've got that in the setup, it makes that more natural for them, and they would prefer it that way. But by all means, the nests are awesome. I love that nest. It's the first nest I've owned, which I've mentioned as well, and absolutely blew my mind how nice it was. Yeah. So I would never poo-poo sort of ant nests, acrylic, white tongue, all that sort of stuff. I would never poo-poo it. It's just my preference through that. But yeah, I definitely prefer natural setups as well, because you can also cater them how you want to look as well for where you're keeping them. But yeah.
Cool. All right. Ants Manitoba, was there something that you wanted to talk about your channel still?
Yes. Yeah, sure. For like the question about like your goal or your dream.
Yeah.
For me, I think that was kind of like a vague thing before this. Like I knew I wanted to do content. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I experimented with a whole bunch of stuff, and ants was like one of the things that I really liked. So that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. But I've slowly started liking some different kind of stuff, and I will have a video soon talking about this. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, because I think my overall goal, sorry, I got a little sidetracked. My overall goal here would be like to be able to make videos, and kind of like what Urban Antkeeper was saying, have them be able to self-sustain you, as long as like a place to live and like food on the table. I would be very happy, as long as I don't have to be working like a 9 to 5. Like if I can do YouTube and like have it support my life, I will do that for as long as I can.
Right.
I think like, and not just settle with anything I have, like trying to reach those high numbers and like thinking of these crazy ideas and going for something I can like do. You'll see me in the future.
But let me tell you something. Some people say the hobby is already reached its peak. The hobby is at the start of the beginning.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at what's it called, those bearded dragons and tarantulas, like 30 years ago, that was non-existent. And if you see how incorporated that is now in pet stores and stuff, and how big those hobbies are, and leopard geckos and whatnot, that's going to be the same with ant keeping.
Yep.
In 5 years, this hobby is going to take a rise. If I see how many kids and young people join the Discord server and stuff, like it's like also that buy from me in my stores, 90% are just under 14 years old. So it's taking a very, very hard rise, definitely in the younger people. So yeah, also TikTok helps, I think.
Yeah, TikTok definitely helps. But
yeah, I guarantee you, like in the next 5 years, someone here will have a golden play button.
Oh gosh.
Oof, who will it be?
I can promise.
Probably Manitoba, if he figures out how to upload videos.
let me say this. A lot of these questions are okay. I guess I'll touch on that. So like, because this is gonna be coming out anyway, so I might as well just touch on it for fun. It's okay. It's not a coincidence that every 6 months I make a video of myself returning, upload 3 videos, and then leave the face of the planet for another 5 to 8 months, right? Like I'm sick of it happening, right? And I think that as I've grown up a little bit more, I've realized that like I'm restricting myself in a corner that like the content that I'm creating is just not what I want to be creating. Like I have nothing wrong with ant keeping. It's an amazing hobby and I love it, and it'll be part of my life forever. But the content side of it, it's just like picking up a camera and just going and filming is a really hard thing to do. Like if you want to document over creating something and you just want to like go and you want to make like anything out of anything, you have to like set up a camera, set up shots. Even if you're going outside, it's really hard to like just make a story, which is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to tie in like emotion into my videos, and it's really hard to do that with anything that has to do with ant keeping, which is like probably where I'll be headed is to something else.
Yeah, I do have like a little idea on how to like sneak story in. I have a concept that I've been thinking of for a while now, where I'm gonna like do a review, where like I try where I hear the doorbell, I go to my door, try get the package, but like someone steals it, and like the intro is like a chase scene, and it's that's the only way I see of like bringing story into it. And then if any of you watch Pulp Fiction, because like in that, like when they open the box and like the golden light comes out, like I've finished like beating up all the other people, and then I open up the package and like golden light comes out, and I'm like, whoa.
Definitely would be interesting to mix like ant keeping with like more mainstream stuff. Definitely.
Yeah.
But this question just popped in my mind. Did anyone ever talk to Rob J in person of you here?
Rob J. Ans?
Yeah.
No, have you?
No, I also didn't. We all. I feel like we always forget to ask him for this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Ant Oliver show. I don't know if he asked him, but yeah. I mean, it's kind of the
My
OG
own
reviewer,
personal
right?
experience, man. He seems to be the same on the sense of like he doesn't seem to want to get involved with the community so much. Like he's in his
Well,
group
maybe
and
it's just
everything,
like
and,
his hobby.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like everyone,
Like he just wants to make videos casually. Like
I don't think there's any other YouTuber sponsored more than him. Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So like for me, YouTube for me isn't like the be all for me. Since I'm a podcaster, I tend to do more on an audio perspective, which is good. That's where I can do this. I can bring you guys who are, more in the actual YouTube realm and do videos and ants and have that experience. I can bring you guys in who have the experience and allow the community to be able to like talk to you guys and like learn. Like Minigun was saying earlier, like talk to other ant keepers. Like I want to be that for the community. I want to be able to bring people together and allow us to be together as a community. I mean, that's like the ants.
I gotta agree. That's one of my goals as well, because it always confused me that we keep these social insects that are highly based on community.
Exactly.
But ant keepers themselves seem to be quite restrictive on wanting to get together and do stuff and have fun. It's starting to break down, but I mean, I found when I first started asking, most people wouldn't get back to me. Most people weren't interested. It was kind of like, well, who are you? And it's like, well, I'm trying to get to know you, bro. I'm trying to, chat about ants. Would you be interested in joining me? And it's kind of, there was quite a lot of resistance at first. And it's nice to see that other people who are quite popular in it have turned around and said, oh, do you know what? I want to get involved too and share that, because I feel that's the only way that we can reach out with the hobby, that we can reach out to a wider community and get more people involved, is to reach out and get more people involved, and in turn they get more people involved, and before you know it, keeping ants could be a mainstream thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like you were.
No, I couldn't agree more as well. By the way, sorry, just had to get that in there.
Oh yeah, totally. So
but guys, also now we're talking about community. If you have some spare time, go into this like Spanish community. Go into communities. I recently talked with a girl. She has 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. She's called Pink Beta. really sweet girl, but speaks Spanish, so now no one's heard
Yeah.
about her. But yeah, they can be really fun to maybe, I don't know. The problem is that they always speak poor English, but there are some that speak good English.
So this
But
is your
yeah.
crush that's watching.
No. If she's still watching, then I'm gonna ask her to marry me probably. But don't... oh shit!
Live
oh, it's...
proposal? Oh my god.
A live
No.
proposal on the podcast?
We haven't met yet, but I hope
Oh.
soon. I hope soon.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, the
Send her
Spanish.
an ant colony. If she sends you one back, she's the one, man.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. But yeah.
Well, like, Colonialist, you were saying that in your podcast about like the community and stuff, and that's kind of what like made me realize I'm like, wait a minute, we have the same goals. Like, this is great. So I really love that. I was able to bring so many people together today, and I look forward to tomorrow's episode. So
yeah, me too, man.
Yeah,
I'm
and it also
looking forward
feels
to
like
being on that.
nothing is a competition on here, which is even like, yeah, I'm a beginner in having a shop, and even that doesn't feel like that I have to compete with the others, because, well, like I have close contact with Wakushi and with AntLab, and Wakushi's helping me with designing. AntLab is wanting to help me to cut the acrylic plates, so yeah, there's no competition at all. It's just helping each other
Sadly,
to
after
achieve
my review of
greater
the
goal.
Ant Lab, I got a bit ousted by that community of retailers. I even got banned from their group when I tried to join it. So I don't have any communication with them.
Wait, what happened?
Sadly, I think it's sad because I think I had valid points on the setup. I don't think it was up to standard. I think it could have been improved, and I think the excuse of it would be too expensive to actually take chips out of the piping was just a bit of a lame excuse, personally. But I don't hold it against the guy.
Yeah.
So
Wait, I completely missed this.
I'm always willing to move forward. It's on my leaf cutter setup. If you go back, it's quite far back. It's probably one of the first reviews I did. I feel bad because I feel like I was probably a little bit harsh because I felt let down, and I felt sort of the answers I was given sort of like rubbed me up the wrong way. And I also had like other people in the group that I was talking to about it. They were like, "Oh, don't take that, don't do this," and it was kind of like, well, I would say now, looking back, I probably didn't handle it the best.
Like the thing
But at
that
the
came
same
from
time, I still think that my points are valid, and I'd love to. No, it wasn't from Ant Stavia's. It's just from general other ant keepers when I was showing them the pictures of the setup and the parts that I was sort of unhappy with, and sort of when you're spending that much money on sort of what are essentially 3 plastic drums, to be told that to not have chips in them would be too expensive. It's like, well, what are you talking about? If I bought from any other retailer and it had chips in it, and they said that, and I've spent a couple of $100 on a setup, that's just. It's painful to hear, man.
Yeah, well, I think reviews should always be 100% honest, because otherwise, why it's a review?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I know, and with
100%,
Nanya, you
100%.
got the shops a lot of slack by giving them really good grades.
Right.
Right. What's that? Sorry.
That yeah, well, you do a lot of reviews recently, and you give high points to all the shops.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my
I liked
opinion, you
his,
can be a little
rating
bit
of
more
Gotcha.
critical sometimes, because yeah, there aren't all yeah, there are a lot of mistakes sometimes that get made, and it's sad that if you point them out, like the colonialist, that then they say, well, you're cancelled. But
yeah. I mean, like, I'm always willing to move
the
forward
thing
from
is-
stuff. I don't hold stuff against
Hold on,
people.
hold on.
Like, and as I always say, like, individually agreements that I have with different retailers, they are individual with those retailers.
Yeah.
I don't tell other retailers what I'm doing with them, and likewise, I wouldn't share that information. It's professionalism really, and that's the same way I am in my career. If I'm dealing with someone individual, then anything made between me and them is between me and them. So it's like I'm not out to sabotage any retailers or anything like that. But I think after that review that I gave, a whole host of retailers that are sort of friends with each other were like, yeah, make sure this guy ain't involved in our section of the community. At least that's how I personally felt. So
go ahead, Anthony.
Sorry. No, sorry. I was just going to say. I think my problem is. I think my big problem is I'm too nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a combination of that, and I find.
Well, it is hard.
Are you
No,
afraid
why
that
don't
you
you
won't get
survive
sponsored
the,
again? Is that it?
Yeah, especially if someone sends you something and then you're like, oh, I didn't really like it. Then you're afraid that.
Yeah,
they
that's a good.
won't
That's true.
then you
So
start
I feel like
again.
you should always provide constructive feedback. If there's any type of feedback you want to give back to them, it should always be constructive. I guess, yeah.
So, before we end the show, so recently I had tried out, like I was telling you guys, I showed you guys on Instagram, but my pogos, their outworld is covered in blue liquid because Utah Ant Shop's liquid feeder like dumped out, it like leaked everywhere. But like,
yeah, I saw that.
I tagged him in that, trying to see if he would respond, and he didn't respond. Would see my messages, would not respond, and then I get a message from him saying that his wife had a baby and that he's super busy, which that's cool. But then now I can't talk to him. He won't respond. I can't follow him on Instagram anymore. I don't know why. So I don't know what's
Sadly,
going on.
that seems to be it. Like the moment you're slightly critical, you're cut off, and that's a bit unfortunate. And I do find that repetitively happening with different retailers within the community. The moment you say something against what they have, you automatically get attacked, one by them or by their fan base, or you get completely sort of ostracized by them. And I think that's a bit unfair. I think if you're a retailer, you should accept a certain amount of criticism. I mean, I run an airsoft company as well, and I tell you, through that you get plenty of criticism from the base. But if I was to start doing that to the community, the shop would be over in a second flat. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like the same thing. It's like, you know, you have to allow people to be honest. You have to take that criticism. And some retailers are quite good at coming back and saying, oh, I'm going to improve that, or I'm going to make changes on that. They're not all bad. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I think the retailers just take it a little bit too personally when it's like all you're doing is pointing out what isn't viable in their product. Right. And it's kind of like they can make those changes. They are in control of that. They can change that. And if they choose not to, then, you know, that's, in a way, it's kind of unfair to the community.
Fun story actually about that exact topic. Ant Oliver is going to drop a video, a review on my nest. And today he was moving his colony and they actually escaped the nest.
Oh gosh.
And I said, put that into the video. But yeah, I said, no, it's too late. But yeah, that would be actually good to put that in to show that I'm still trying out, and yeah, can't always go right, but he fixed it gladly.
Yeah, we're the guinea pigs for your designs.
I've got to go, so I'll see you guys soon. I'm sorry, I've just got to leave abruptly.
Yeah, no problem. Don't worry. Hey, Ansportator,
it was nice having you.
Before you go, do you want to plug your social really quick?
Oh no, it's fine, man.
You're good?
I'm all good. Yeah, thanks though. I just want to say that it was nice to meet all you guys. And hopefully I can talk to you all soon. If you ever want to have a chat or whatever, just drop me a message and we'll have a talk.
Sweet.
All right.
Much love, mate.
Sure. Thank you, dude. Take care.
Have a good night, man. Have a good night.
See ya.
Cool. That was fun.
Yeah,
all right.
definitely.
So before we end it, I do want to say that for my podcast, yes, the podcast will be something that I'll be moving forward with. As you can tell, I'll be doing these panels every other month, and then doing my live thing once a week or every other week, depending on how it goes. But one thing I've considered doing is opening my own store, which I don't know how that's gonna look or what that's going to look like. I don't know if I'm just going to be selling merch for the podcast or if it's going to be making nests like Aesthetic Ants is doing, or making like accessories or selling queens in my area, or I don't know what it's going to look like, but hell, it's a start. It's a thought.
I wish you the best of luck. It's not easy.
Nope, definitely not easy, but yep. So
merch would be one of the best ways.
Yeah, I think so too. And
Yeah,
the easiest way to get into it.
Yeah.
Yes, selling ants in the US is very hard right now.
Yeah.
Well, because of all the travel. Yeah.
Yeah. But so before we close this, since it is Easter weekend, does anybody have any fun Easter memories?
Nope.
Well, I have one, but yeah.
Oh, that's giving me a good idea.
Maybe we'll drag it. Maybe, yeah. Well, there was one thing. I don't know how you celebrate Easter, but here in the Netherlands, at least, we always go hide like eggs, but then chocolate eggs and little chocolate bunnies and stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we once forgot a whole package of chocolate, which was wrapped in this plastic wrapper, a lot of chocolates, and so it was at my grandparents' house, and so they thought there was like a dead bird, completely, rotting and stuff, but it was just molten chocolate. So that was really funny. It looked like dead animals, but it was just molten chocolate. And that's my only fun Easter story.
Nice. So I grew up between a Muslim family and a non-Muslim family. They would just celebrate Christmas or Easter or whatever. Like hiding eggs. Egg hunts were always a big thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. For the panelists for today, do you guys want to go ahead and drop your social for your YouTube channels and stuff? Ants Manitoba, why don't you go ahead and go first?
I feel like everyone knows they can find me, but it's Ants Manitoba on everything.
All right. Aesthetic Ants?
For me, it's Aesthetic Ants on everything.
All right. Antscapes?
the same. We'll keep it too, man.
All right. And Urban Ant Keeper?
Yeah, it's the Urban Ant Keeper on everything. But when you're searching up, it up on YouTube, no spaces. Otherwise, all you get is Ants Canada videos. It's kind of annoying.
That's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, folks. No. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for part 2 of the Easter special.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Thanks
you guys
for having me
enjoyed, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace and love.
Bye. Thanks so much for having me.
And love forever.